So, as you all know, we were on a yatra to Mayapur. It's the best filler I can think of. Some of you were here. I'm very surprised to see many of you who reached Mumbai today at 4:30 a.m. by train and are still present. Very nice. All glories to you. So we had a wonderful 4.5 day yatra to Mayapur, and we had the association of Sitaram Prabhu and the association of Nitai Madhav Prabhu, and we went to the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We went to the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started the Sankirtan movement, Srivas Angan, Srivas Thakur's home. We went to the Samadhi Mandir of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Right now, when we were reciting these pranam mantras, all those flashbacks were coming. Reciting Bhakti Siddhanta's pranam mantra, we went there. Reciting Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj's pranam mantra, we went there. Reciting Bhakti Vinod Thakur's pranam mantra, we went there. Reciting Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj's pranam mantra, we went there. Of course, Prabhupada's Pushpa Samadhis in Mayapur. And then we went across the Ganga to the home of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And then one day we went to Rajapur, to the Jagannath temple, self-manifested deities of Jagannath, 500 years old. So, and in between all that, we had wonderful realizations. For me, at least, the biggest realization from the Mayapur Yatra, which is the biggest realization from every Yatra, is that you are in association of devotees 24 hours for all those days. So, uh, we are because here what happens in 1 hour the class will end before that, but after 1 hour or 1.5 hours after done with prasad you will go on your way, right? And then again you probably will meet devotees after 1 week. Some may come during the week to the temple or some may talk to devotees, but it's mostly once a week. There it is all the time except for the time when you're sleeping, and if you're sharing a room with other devotees, even you see a devotee the last time of the day and you see a devotee the moment you get up, or they are probably shaking you and waking you up. Ut, Mangal Aarti jana hai. So that is actually a very wonderful thing because uh, we realize how different devotees' mindset is versus the quote unquote normal people who we daily interact with. Like we were having one of the days, we were having a realization sharing session. So where I said that it was the third day, end of the third day. So 4 days we are here, one day travel and 3 days here. How many of you are in touch with the news? What's going on in the world? Most people. So even if there's a war going on somewhere, we are clueless. But life is going on. But the same thing, if you're tracking that event, every hour, every 2 hours, every 4 hours, you want an update and you think, oh, this is very important. But when you're away from that situation for 4 or 5 days, chala, your company worked, your family worked, everything went on, and you were immersed in Krishna consciousness. That is available only in a yatra. So we were discussing that a yatra is actually a glimpse, a trailer into what a life is for someone who's fully dedicated in the service of the Lord. You see brahmacharis, sannyasis, fully dedicated. So we get a glimpse into that for those days. Because the day starts at 3:30 a.m. You get up, you go for Mangal Aarti, you chant there, you attend Darshan Aarti, you attend Guru Puja, you come, you sit with devotees, you honor Prasad, then you have half an hour, 1 hour to yourself, and then again you're with the devotees going somewhere, come back, take Prasad, again half an hour, 1 hour to yourself, and then again you're out with devotees. You come back, you attend Sandhya Aarti, you have Prasad. And again, throughout that time, I mean, at least even me, except for the first day, those break times I never slept because you were talking to devotees. So, and then you feel very nice. We shared realizations. So, someone said that I'm really feeling very satisfied. You're feeling very satisfied sleeping at 10:30 a.m., p.m., and getting up at 3:30 a.m. and not lying down during the day also. And that's giving you satisfaction. And the first day the weather was nice. The rest of the 3 days, you know, the amount of, how you'll get drenched if you go out in the monsoon in Mumbai. We got drenched without the monsoon in Mayapur. I have a very big dislike for washing clothes, so I carried 5 pairs of clothes. thinking 5 दिन है हो जाएगा, कुछ कपड़े धोने की जरूरत नहीं है. At the end of the first day, I realized 3 pairs are needed in a day. It's so humid. Keep washing, keep washing. How many of you washed clothes? Everyone. And in spite of that, everyone was saying, I'm feeling really satisfied here. Yes, it was like that. So then we dug into that. How is that possible? How are you feeling satisfied? You're sleeping like 4 hours, 5 hours a day, and it's hot. It's super humid. We actually had to make. And one of the days when we went to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, thank you, Prabhuji. For some reason, the boat that we had pre-booked didn't show up, and so the boat that came didn't have a roof. So you don't need a roof on a boat for the boat to function, but you need a roof on the boat for you to not get a sunburn. And there were these kids who became completely red, and their parents were more red out of fear of their children than the heat. And still, everyone at the end of that day, we had the realization session, and everyone was saying, "Feeling very satisfied, we're feeling very happy." What is that? That shows that the soul derives happiness not in things related to matter, not in comforts of the body. Here it's such a comfortable situation. The AC is on, it's pretty peaceful, it's not very crowded. Over there, Mangal Arati, it's like you're it's like a Mumbai local train, free body massage. Uh, and what happens in Mayapur is because so many pilgrims come, people are coming there for the first time, they don't have a clue what they are doing. They don't know which where to go, what to do, and they keep on banging into you. And you're trying to pray to the Lord. You're just woken up. It's 4:30, and all this is happening. And still, people are feeling happy. They're feeling very satisfied. So this shows that the the happiness of the soul, lies in immersing the soul in Krishna consciousness. And that's why when we are discussing this chapter of Parikshit Maharaj. As soon as Parikshit Maharaj came to know that this curse has come upon me and I have 7 days, if he wanted, he could have searched for a way to get a counter curse, or he could have gone to Shamik Rishi and could have worked out. Of course, it was Krishna's will, which he knows. But Parikshit Maharaj thought, okay, fine. This is Krishna coming to me in the form of a curse of a Brahmana. This is Krishna coming to me because now he's given me the opportunity to completely detach myself from everything and fully immerse myself in Krishna consciousness. I Nobody will blame me for not taking care of my kingdom. Nobody will blame me for not taking care of my family because I only have 7 days to live. Logical? Anyone no matter how small their children are, or no matter how many responsibilities they have, if the Indian Medical Association gives them the topmost doctors of India give them a certificate that max 7 days, and if they say, I would like to be left alone now, just I've got a will ready, aap dekh lena, and no one is going to blame that person. So Parikshit thought, this is Krishna coming to me in the form of the curse of the son of the Brahmana, and he immersed himself. Similarly, how do we apply this? Is that whenever whenever we are faced with difficulties, we should understand that there is one part of this difficulty which may have a material solution, and I should pursue that. There is one part of this. It could be anything. It could be a health problem. It could be a financial problem. It could be an issue at work. It could be some project related work. It could be anything. So there is some material thing to pursue in that. it's a health problem. You have to go get investigations done, go to some specialist, go to some doctors, inquire from people who is good in this. So that requires some endeavor. That has to be done. If it's a problem at work, you need to communicate and you need to figure out how to resolve it. That aspect is there. But that's not the only solution to bringing you relief from the misery that this thing has brought. Relief from misery is not on the platform of the body. Relief from misery is on the platform of the soul. Happiness is not on the platform of the body. Bodily happiness is temporary. We all have experience, it's temporary. Right now, the AC is on, we are feeling nice. The temperature goes down, after half an hour, the same AC is going to make us feel uncomfortable. For those of you who don't like too much of cold, right? So, happiness does not lie on the bodily platform. So, where does it lie? It lies in who we actually are, your spirit soul. So, the spirit soul can get happiness only by immersing itself in Krishna consciousness. And therefore, every now and then in Srimad Bhagavatam, we come across cases where यहाँ बैठो आगे आओ we come across cases where these things happen, where there are difficulties, and then somehow, whoever is the person involved there takes up to the process of Krishna consciousness, and eventually they feel that this was the best thing that could happen to me. So these yatras are meant, and it does not have to be restricted to a yatra. There is this uh, our Keshav Maharaj, he was mentioning this one story of this one banker, investment banker. So investment bankers are like extremely busy people. They don't have a minute to spare on the weekdays. So on Monday morning, he spoke to him and he asked him, "What did you do yesterday?" So Keshav Maharaj told him, "No, I did this and I had this engagement and I went here and I did that, and that's how the day went." And he asked him, "What did you do?" He said, "I read Bhagavatam." So he said, "Okay, how long did you read Bhagavatam?" He said, "I started at 10 o'clock in the morning." Okay. Till when did you read? Till 11 o'clock at night. And he said, I just went non-stop from 10 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. And I was just deriving so much pleasure from this that I couldn't keep the book down. This guy was some very rich, big investment banker who anyway has a very stressful week, who could have just chosen to relax, sleep for 2 3 hours, or indulge in the luxuries that his high salary brings him. But he got happiness by reading Bhagavatam, and the proof is that he could read from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., like 13 hours non-stop. It shows two things. It shows this is what the soul wants, and it shows Srimad Bhagavatam has the ability to deliver. Srimad Bhagavatam has the ability to deliver this. So, in this section, which we are currently reading of the actual curse taking place, we discussed last time how Parikshit Maharaj, out of anger, did that, but there was no trace of any behavior in Parikshit Maharaj to show that he had ever done something like this before. He had never ever cursed a Brahmana before. He had never been disrespectful to a Brahmana before. He was always very, very respectful to them. And this time, he ended up doing this. So, what did we discuss? What conclusion do you come at? Who remembers? Ah, Mataji? It was Krishna's will. It was the will of the Lord. It was the will of the Lord. Otherwise, it's unexplainable for such a thing to happen. How Parikshit Maharaj, he used to call sadhus and worship them. How come he got so angry just because, and he could see this fellow was, in meditation. How come he got so angry and he did this? Krishna wanted it. And why did Krishna want it? Ultimately, so that Bhagavatam is spoken. And why did he want it done through Parikshit Maharaj? What does Krishna tell Arjuna in the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? Who remembers? Why? Bhakto si me sakha cheti rahasya hi etat uttamam. that Arjuna, I'm giving you this Uttam Rahasya because you are my devotee and my friend. So now Krishna wanted, there is a perfect speaker for Srimad Bhagavatam, who is Shukadev Goswami. Now it's not enough to just have a perfect speaker. If you can give a wonderful class, but if everyone else is just or or worst or even worse, uh, it's not going to work. Right? So he wanted a perfect hearer also. In therefore, Parikshit Maharaj was chosen. We discussed from this is that Parikshit Maharaj's life is so glorious that his birth, his life, and his death all invoke remembrance of Lord Krishna. In fact, when there are other devotees, now you see the how a Krishna conscious life or how a devotee's thinking is different from a karmi's thinking. If a devotee gets a notice from a doctor that you have 6 months left, you have 1 year left, you have 1 month left, a devotee will take that as a blessing because he will think, okay, you know, अभी तक महामंत्र अच्छे से जप नहीं कर पाया, अभी तक सीरियसनेस नहीं आया, अभी तक वो स्नूज पे स्नूज करता रहा, अभी तक भागवतम इतना सीरियसली नहीं पढ़ा, I have no excuse now. So there are so many times this thing happens to devotees, and then they all say, "Oh, see, he was so fortunate, just like Maharaj Parikshit." Like recently, His Holiness Kadam Karan Maharaj, he was given 6 months to a year by the doctors. It ended up being almost a year. Uh, but what did he do? Okay, I got the notice. So he wound up everything. He went to all the places where he had services, inspired all the devotees, initiated everybody. There are stories of people coming to Maharaj and saying, Maharaj, who should I take second initiation from after you are not present? And Maharaj saying, I'm still present here. I'm giving initiation in 2 days. What's the problem? I'm not qualified for Brahman initiation yet. Oh, you have no option now. You become qualified. Now there's no option. Doom, de diya. Maharaj, I'm chanting 8 rounds now. Okay, get to 16. You have 2 days. Karo, khatam. So, and then came to Vrindavan and just immersed himself in Krishna consciousness and left. And so many devotees in their glorification said, "Oh, this was just like Maharaj Parikshit." So, how to die also Maharaj Parikshit is showing. If we move ahead from where we left off last time, we left off at this. Maharaj Parikshit did this, it was Krishna's will, and then what did Maharaj Parikshit feel after he went back? Do you remember? Were you there? No show of hands. We discussed after he went back, he repented. He felt repentance. What did I do? How come I did this? He was contemplating. You remember we discussed? Contemplation. Contemplation. And he was contemplating and he thought, oh, what did I do? And he thought, nothing good can come from this. Nothing good is going to come. Something is going to happen now. And we discussed how even in our life we should be contemplative. Sometimes things happen and our ego is the thing that comes in between the us feeling the ability to contemplate and think that I was wrong. So this word ego, it's like that. I saw very nice many years back this creative in which it was they took a Eno sachet and they replaced the word Eno with the word ego, and Eno's that punchline is काम बनाए 6 सेकंड में, and they just removed बनाए and made it बिगाड़े, and they said ego काम बिगाड़े सिर्फ 6 सेकंड में. And that is what happens in the spur of the moment. When we get pinched, we end up doing something. But if we are genuine, we go back and we can contemplate and think, oh, I was wrong. And then it's You actually become the bigger person to then go and even apologize, or to think that, okay, I will ensure these things don't happen. So Parikshit Maharaj is doing that. This is, uh, we all know Shravanam, Kirtanam, hear. But it's not just enough to hear. After hearing, you're supposed to think about it. What did I just hear? What did I just read? Shravanam and then Mananam. Mananam means contemplate. Contemplate what you heard. Contemplate what you read. We were discussing in Mayapur when I was introducing Sitaram Prabhu. So I was telling everyone that Sitaram Prabhu many times says this, that even if you read half a page, but if you think about that, then he used to give his example. I'm so busy that I just don't have time to read, but I read this 3 days back and I'm still thinking about it. So Shravanam and then Mananam, thinking about it. Okay, today I went for Saturday class and I heard again something about Parikshit Maharaj, and then I heard about the ways devotees behave. I heard about yatra giving the opportunity to stay with devotees, and how everyone felt so satisfied, although physically there was austerity. Okay, so what is this for me? What should I be doing? That is called as contemplation. No, otherwise, it'll we'll forget. We were discussing in the yatra also. Please write down things. Please write down your remembrances. Write down your realizations. Write down what you liked. Write down something that touched your heart, because it's guaranteed after a while your mind is going to make you forget it, and then it's just going to be a memory. Google will remind you after 1 year, hey, तुम 17 जून को यहाँ गए थे, 17 अगस्त को. But if you write it down, I have notes from my first Mayapur Yatra, 2008, and you write it down, and then it transports you back there. And then if it's like, if you read your notes 10 years back, and then you can see, oh, I've come, I have progressed in Krishna consciousness in 10 years, and that increases our faith in the process. Faith in the process gets increased because of that. So Parikshit Maharaj was contemplating. After that, Shamik Rishi's son Shringi, he came, he saw his father like that, and he immediately, what did he do? He cursed that whoever has done this, may that person die in 7 days from a snake bite, because that snake garland was put on Shamik Rishi. And then he started screaming, "Oh, what's happened? Hi, he was doing. And that broke Shamik Rishi's trance. Saw his son is shouting, son is crying, and he asked him, "What happened?" And the son told him this, that there was someone who came, and this king came, Maharaj Parikshit, and I don't know what happened, but he's put this dead snake on you. And so I have cursed him. Thinking that father will say, Shabash beta, तूने मेरा नाम रोशन किया. Instead of that, what did Shamik Rishi tell him? Oh, you immature fool. This shows that you are not actually a Brahmana, you're just a Brahmana in name. Brahmana's son does not necessarily become a Brahmana. You become a Brahmana by Chaturvida bhajate mam, no, sorry, Chaturvarna maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagasa. Chaturvarna, the four varnas are guna and karma, by quality and by action. You'll be classified as a Brahmana or a Shudra. And so he told him, you are immature. You did a foolish thing. This does not show any Brahmanical qualities in you. And then Prabhupada writes there that the immaturity of Shringi is very evident in this. And we should also be careful of our immature behavior when it comes to spiritual life. Now you think about it. Our immature behavior when it comes to spiritual life. We should be careful of our what? Immature behavior in regards to our, what can that mean? Think about it. What could it, and it can be different for everybody. What constitutes as immature behavior for a devotee for their spiritual life? And there is no one right or wrong answer. Think about it from your angle. What constitutes as immature behavior in terms of our spiritual life for a devotee? Yes, Mataji. Okay. You are discussing with somebody and they are putting up a point and you don't agree with that point, which is fine. But then you argue with that person. That may not be wrong in the outside world. In fact, in some cases, you are appreciated for it, right? Like I remember when I joined Citibank, and I used to call my seniors as sir. Somebody, I was 21, that fellow was 60 years old, and they said, "Yes, sir, work का culture यहाँ नहीं चलते. We're an American bank, and just call me by my first name. And you have every right to come into my cabin, and if you don't find something proper, you can tell me." But in why is that a immaturity in spiritual life? So we can say that in Vaishnav relationships, respect plays an important part, and decorum plays an important part. Etiquette, we can call it. So etiquette plays an important part in Vaishnav relationships, and it is nothing but our immaturity which causes sometimes difficulties in that. Ultimately, चलो, even if someone else wins the argument, हमको tangibly कुछ problem नहीं होने वाला है उससे. Nothing is going to change. Only thing is our ego will get a little punctured, which is good for us. Aren't we all here for that? Do we all accept, or at least I can accept, we have inflated egos? Yesterday, I got a new pair of slippers. So someone asked me, आपका पैर बहुत बड़ा लग रहा है, ये कौन सा size है आपका? I said, it's the size of my ego. Very big, very big size of my ego. So, uh, arguing back, whereas you can disagree and it can be put up in a proper way, in a proper time, place, and circumstances, maybe not in front of everybody, but later on, and maybe after thinking about it, half of our arguments may also disappear. So, very nice. Arguing with a superior or a senior devotee is a sign of immaturity in spiritual life. What else? Okay. Not taking the ninefold processes, the basic sadhana that Prabhupada has given us, not taking it very seriously. So when we don't take it seriously, what do we think about it? It's not very important. There are other important things in life. Yes, there are other important things in life. Today I was having a discussion. I don't know how that discussion. That that there is this one person who keeps asking the same question. What is the question? How do I improve my chanting? I was like, yeah, it's good. Because you should, at least I still feel, where is my chanting? Fine, I chant 16 rounds most of the days. I chanted in the morning. Where is it now? To think that हाँ ऐसा ही चलेगा, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, then that's immature. You have this wonderful diamond which costs nothing. It only, the price to pay is not monetary. The price to pay is our sincerity, is giving it time, giving it good time. Now, if you don't do that also, it's like that story of this elderly lady carrying the log of wood in her on her basket, and somehow it falls. And while it was falling, she shouted, "Oh Krishna, please help me! Please help me!" And Krishna appeared, and she was like, "Wow, I didn't know this happens." Really? And she told Krishna, "What are you doing here? You called me. You called me. Tell me what you want. You called me. I came." So she said, "Okay, can you please put this back on my head?" Did that. And she went off. And after some time, she thought, "My God, what did I do? I could have asked for anything. I could have asked for so much that I don't have to carry wood ever in my life." So we have been given this wonderful opportunity to end this complete cycle of birth and death. There's Mayapur in the spiritual world without the humidity. There's Vrindavan in the spiritual world without the pollution, without the dirt, without the gutters, without the hogs. Monkeys are still there, but they don't snatch your specs. So all that is available at this price. Being serious in following this basic process. So, but we attach, okay, हाँ ठीक है, very nice, 16 माला करना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, पर ये भी है, ये भी है, ये भी है, ये भी important है, वो भी important है, वो भी important है, होगा, but we learn what is more important, what is principally important, and then if we don't give that much importance, prime importance to our spiritual life, that is a sign of being immature. And of course, this is after 10, 15 years of practicing. If we are still not able to give, initially after 1, 2, 3, 4 years, no problem. You need more inspiration, you need a faith to increase. The stages of increase in faith: Adau Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Tata Bhajana Priya, Anartha Nivriti. So we got some Shraddha. Some Shraddha means slight faith. That slight faith brought us all here. And then it allowed us to have Sadhu Sangha. The result of Sadhu Sangha was Bhajana Kriya. We were told, chant Hare Krishna, take Prabhupada's books, okay, chant 2 rounds, oh, very good, chant 4 rounds, excellent, chant 8 rounds, come to 16. Now, here is a set of Bhagavatam. Bhadra Purnima is coming, it's coming now. ये लो भागवतम पढ़ना शुरू करो गीता पढ़ा स्मॉल बुक्स पढ़ा नहीं पढ़ा पढ़ो 6 महीने बाद नहीं पढ़ा पढ़ो 1 साल बाद नहीं पढ़ा अभी तो पढ़ो that's fine. That sadhu sangha led to bhajana kriya. That following this process leads to anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti means all the negative qualities. Anartha. Artha means meaning, valuable, wealth. You know, anartha. It's not at all important. In fact, it is detrimental. Anartha nivritti. It goes away. After anartha nivritti, what happens? Ruchi. That is called taste. Then you want to chant, you want to read Bhagavatam. You are just waiting. When can I remove 10 minutes from my day? I want to read Chaitanya Charitamrita or I want to read Bhagavad Gita. Devote, like someone told me recently, Gaurang Prabhu was saying, my favorite book in the world is Bhagavad Gita. And we have examples of so many devotees who keep reading and rereading Bhagavad Gita. Some taste in that. वहां तक आने के लिए ये साधना को सीरियसली लेना पड़ेगा और अगर हम नहीं लेंगे तो वो अनर्थ निवृत्ति में ही हम विल जस्ट बी देयर एंड द अनर्थस विल नेवर गो अवे एंड व्हाट विल हैपन एट द एंड ऑफ लाइफ anyway we have to give all this up anyway our list of desires is not going to end and one day we will end desires won't end we will end so what did we achieve Prahad Maharaj says puna puna charvita charunana it is chewing the chewed so very good not taking our sadhana basic things seriously is a sign of immaturity in spiritual life what else not applying the principles of what we are reading, like Bhagavatam, if we are reading, Bhagavad Gita, we are reading. To apply that slowly and steadily in our day-to-day routine, not wanting to or not really trying for that, that also is also a sign of maturity. Okay. So the similar thing, like after hearing, not contemplating over it or not, churning it in the mind and seeing how this can be applied to me. For example, sit here. Or you go behind. There was a awesome. So, if we just think of this Parikshit Maharaj pastime, okay? Now Can this pastime inspire us in our spiritual life? This pastime of Parikshit Maharaj getting cursed, this specific chapter, chapter 18, can it inspire us in our spiritual life? In how many ways can it inspire us in our spiritual life? Several ways, different for different people. Some may be inspired by the angle of Krishna's will taking place. Some may be inspired by the angle of Parikshit repenting. Some may be inspired by some other angle. But when will that happen? When we think about it, when we read it and reread it, or when we make some notes of what we heard and we go and think about it, and we see, okay, this is the situation in my life, this is the pastime, and these are the purports, and these are some teachings. It will bring inspiration. It will bring inspiration. So, thinking about what we hear, very good. What else? Zoe was saying something. Very nice. Getting offended at small small things. होता है? Oh, that's only problem with Zoe. We we've figured out how to make a temple in Bhiwandi. We've figured out how to make a temple in 8 months in Attapur. We are not able to figure out how to keep this mic straight. He's figured out how to make Hiranandani a donor, and he's in touch with Mr. Hiranandani, Niranjan Hiranandani, uh, who's for our expansion of the Bhiwandi project. They've contributed 2.5 crores for 2 plots, but he can't figure this out. We share frustration through comedy, through jokes. And I also get the point if he does it with me, and he also gets the point, and I. Communication between men is very peaceful and easy. So, getting hurt or pinched, right? What word did you use? Offended, right word. Getting offended at small things. And this is amongst devotees we are talking about. So, why is that a immature sign? Very good. That's exactly what it will lead to. Ultimately, it will lead to a rift increasing and we not wanting to see that devotee's face or talk to that devotee. And then it will lead to all those devotees who are close to that person, we'll keep a distance from them also. Eventually, if it's with 2, 3 devotees like this, we end up cutting ourselves off from association of devotees. Now, if we cut ourselves off from association of devotees, what's going to happen to our spiritual life? You know, not going to get anywhere. At least for a person like me, even with association of devotees, it's so difficult to go ahead. Without it is impossible. Where do you get the inspiration then to wake up and try to chant nicely, or to do things which are not going to be bodily very pleasing, but which are going to be beneficial for spiritual life? Only with association of devotees. Whenever this happens, we should pause and we should think that दुनिया में कितने devotees हैं? How many devotees are there actually in life, in the world, compared to non-devotees? Can you even bring a one in that percentage? It'll go to 0.00007 billion plus human beings. How many devotees? In thousands, maybe, right? We're talking about like proper devotees who can inspire us. Thousands. Now, do those people claim to be pure devotees? Hopefully not. No one claims to be a pure devotee. That means what? We all have our baggage. I'm not claiming to be perfect. Neither should you claim to be perfect. We all are accepting we have anarthas in our life. If Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Acharya like Bhakti Vinod Thakur, you can all go home today and read this bhajan of his Amar Jivan. Read that. Who was Bhakti Vinod Thakur? He used to sleep for 2 hours, and rest of his time was all, Krishna sent him Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati as a son. Krishna made him the instrument to discover Mahaprabhu's birthplace. He was so intelligent, the British made a railway line for him just because they wanted him to continue as the district magistrate. That Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who rediscovered Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita was lost after Mahaprabhu left. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur rediscovered it. That Bhakti Vinod Thakur says that I am a useless person. I have so many anarthas. I am just making a show of all this. Actually, I am this and I'm that. And he's just, beating himself up. So we all have our baggage, right? So knowing, like Prabhupada used to say, the temples are like hospitals. What kind of people do you meet in hospitals? People who are sick, right? People who are sick. When you go to a hospital and you say, "Hey, ये तो बीमार है," what do you expect? But at least he's accepted or she's accepted they are unwell and they have gone there to get what? Treated. Similarly, we are devotees, we accept that, but just because I'm wearing dhoti kurta or someone is wearing a sari, that does not mean they are pure devotees. And they accept it. And so, even if they had some difficulty in their behavior, even if sometimes they spoke harshly, even if sometimes they ignored me, even if sometimes purposefully they did something to put me down, compared to if I lose their association or lose the association of devotees, what's going to happen to me? The price to pay for this is not very big. Not very big. And I'm not talking about every devotee. At least those few devotees who are really pushing us in our spiritual life and helping us and mentoring us or guiding us, or just by being around, I feel happy that these people are there. At least when, because of something that they say, even if I get pinched, I should not feel that's it. Aaj ke baad, never again. I'll block that person. I'll do this. That. That is a sign of immaturity for all the reasons that Zoe mentioned. It will cut us off from association of devotees, and we'll be the loser. They will realize, they will get corrected if they remain in association of devotees. They will progress, and we will just be with our dost. इसने मेरे को ऐसे बोला मालूम है, उसने मेरे को and ऐसे होता है. Therefore you should be very careful who you associate with. There are people, devotees, who from when they open their mouth, all this only comes. So we keep away from them. But we should not become like that. Knowing also, हम कौन से महान है. Even if the doctor comes and tells me, boss, you have 7 days, Krishna is not going to try and bring out any scripture through me. Any substance. Very good. So we had, I should not retaliate or argue unnecessarily with a senior devotee or someone who's guiding me. We had that I should not take this basic core sadhana. When we say basic core sadhana, it's basically chanting attentively, reading Prabhupada's books, right? Association of devotees. We should not take this lightly. Then we had whatever we hear or read, if we don't see how can I apply this in my life, that's a problem. And we had that we feel offended when a devotee says or does something. Today I was talking to our Rupavati Mataji and I was just asking her that, how did the yatra go? So many students were there. So how did it go? So the first question I asked is, any red flags? Did something happen? Did someone not behave properly or did anything happen? She said no. Good. Because it's very natural when you interact with devotees regularly and you're in touch, something you may not like in their behavior, something they may not like in our behavior. Not taking these things very seriously. Because, we have to be selfish for our spiritual life. We have to be smart. You see these expert politicians or very, very shrewd businessmen, they don't mind getting insulted. They don't mind, taking a loss, seeing the bigger picture. आगे जाके ये काम में आएगा. अभी ये बोल रहा है ना, बोलने दे, आगे जाके ये काम में आएगा. You can see in politics, our the duo of prime minister and home minister, they're expert in this. So you find many businessmen like this. So what, they don't mind some inconvenience or tolerate something, seeing that the bigger picture, where this fellow is going to be of help. We should also be like this. We should be selfish for our spiritual life. And I need her. I need him. हाँ बोल दिया ना, चलो छोड़ो, आगे बढ़ो. Anything else? Okay, being in. Can you elaborate? We are talking in terms of spiritual life. Uh, why is that immaturity? She's saying, being impatient, wanting Krishna to reciprocate with me in terms, and this is purely in terms of my spiritual life. This is not in terms of the 4 BHK or the. Recently, just coming today here, I saw a red Mustang. Mustang is this wonderful car, which I used to earlier. It was like a thing. यूएस जाऊंगा, पैसे कमाऊंगा, मस्टैंग खरीदूंगा. Never interested in Germans, so never cared about Mercedes BMW. Mustang खरीदूंगा. वो बीमारी थी of you. Everything America does is the best. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about Krishna being impatient that Krishna is not reciprocating purely with this only. जप नहीं हो रहा है अच्छे से, भागवतम नहीं हो रहा है अच्छे से, यात्रा पे जाने नहीं मिला, कृष्णा क्या करे? Why is that a problem? Why is that immature? हाँ नहीं वो, why is it immature on my part to expect Krishna to fulfill my spiritual desires quickly? Yeah, let her answer. Let her. So can we say that Krishna will do what is best for our spiritual life, and making us wait for a spiritual desire to get fulfilled is probably best for our spiritual life if we look at it that way? That struggling for japa is what I need right now. For someone else, they develop a easier taste in some process. I may take some time, and that's fine. It's required for me. Like ऐसे हो सकता है. I am also doing some services, and someone else is also doing some services, and somehow their services are getting recognized. And मुझे तो खाली बार बार बोला था यार ये ठीक नहीं किया, वो ठीक नहीं किया, ऐसे किया, वैसे किया. And if I think, recently I was thinking like this, and I was thinking, boss, if Krishna starts giving me recognition already without doing much, I feel I am so great. If he starts giving me recognition, then to ho gaya khatam. And maybe this person who is getting recognition can digest it, and that's why Krishna is using that. But I cannot. But if so, so very good. Uh, Krishna will may not. And one more way of looking at it is, maybe Krishna has reciprocated with me, but in not in the way that I want, and I'm not able to see it. Like that disciple, who the guru wanted to teach him, and the guru gave him a pot. He told him, "Ja pani bhar ke aa." And the disciple said, "Guruji, इसमें एक hole है, भर के आ." He said, "कुछ होगा नहीं." He said, "Just do what I'm saying." He went, came back, no water. Go again, do it. Like, why? Come back, no water. 3, 4, 5 times. By the end, he said, "See, I'm telling you, no water. Look at the pot. The pot is clean." So I may think that I want more services, or I want more association, or every time before a yatra someone falls sick in my family, or the boss comes up with some new deadline, or someone takes a leave, or something happens I can't go, or whatever it may be. But sometimes all it requires is some introspection and some discussion with some devotee to show us, boss, अभी तक जो हुआ है वो भी तो अच्छा है ना? Where were we 10 years back? And where are we now? Those of you who have been coming for 10 years. अगर हम देखें, progress. Now, it may not be to the level I wanted, and this can be two things. It could also be I should be putting more efforts also. दामोदर लीला, endeavor and mercy. Endeavor भी होना चाहिए, endeavor भी होना चाहिए. So that is also one way of looking at it. Krishna is not fulfilling it. Maybe more endeavor is required, but the other is Krishna may be showing his mercy. I'm just maybe not introspecting enough to understand it. So, very good. It is immature on a devotee's part to want to expect Krishna's reciprocation soon. Krishna says, Ye yatha ma prapadyante tam sadeva bhajamyaham. Mama vartamanu vartante manusya partha sarvasa. 4th chapter, 11th verse. So, to the level I do, Krishna will reciprocate. Now, Krishna's reciprocation for her and Krishna's reciprocation for her for the same situation can be different, depending on what is good for her and what is good for her. If we remain in association of devotees, we will be able to accept it. Otherwise, immaturity will lead us. अगर ऐसे सोचें, what will it lead us to? Frustration, and eventually we will lose faith in the process. We lose faith in the process. So good. It is immature to expect quick reciprocation from Krishna. What else? Yes. Hmm. Very nice point. Uh, there's that verse, no? Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra. What is it? Something, something like that, which means that never judge a devotee externally. We may think that a devotee is supposed to be simple, पर इनका तो ड्रेसिंग बिल्कुल सिंपल नहीं है. Someone may be in pant shirt, and we may think that devotee is supposed to be like this and all, but we should never judge externally. Like Gadadhar Pandit, when Gadadhar Pandit was told that there is this great Mahabhagwat named Pundrik Vidyanidhi, and you go and he's a wonderful pure devotee. And now devotees are always just like a businessman is always looking for profit. A businessman is always looking for people to show him where profit is. A devotee is always looking for that association. कहाँ मिलेगा वो association जो even for 1 week, but for 1 week मेरे spiritual life को help करेगा. Where is that association? And we should be greedy for that. So Ganadhar Pandit thought, Mahabhagwat, great devotee speaking Bhagavatam, I must go in here. It's like 4 days in Mayapur. Hopefully, for those who came, it's gonna propel us for next few days or weeks or months or hours, depending on how we take it. But propel karega. So he went there. When he went there, he saw there was no simple Vyasasan. There was no simple dhoti kurta. This guy was lying down like this on a wonderfully cushioned couch, made of silk. And he himself was wearing silk and jewelry and all this. And he was chewing pan. And he's lying down like this. And Gadadhar Pandit first reaction thought, this guy, Mahabhagwat? Are you serious? And then who was the devotee who took him there? I can say anything. You will have to accept. Mukunda. Mukund took him. So he realized that Gadadhar Pandit is doubting Pundrik Vidyanidhi. So what did he do? He quoted a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, glorifying Krishna. And as soon as our Pundrik Vidyanidhi heard this verse, all the symptoms of spiritual ecstasy started developing in his body. Hair standing on end, tears uncontrollably flowing, shouting Krishna, 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 to an extent that it's not imitation. Imitation, it ends somewhere, you come to know. But he understood and then he realized, my God, one verse from Bhagavatam invoked such remembrance of Krishna in this person's heart that it led to ecstasy. That means this guy is a Mahabhagavat and I was just judging on externals. So to undo what he did, he went to him, he fell at his feet, he begged for forgiveness, and he told him, "Please accept me as your disciple. I want to be, please accept me as a disciple, become my guru." And Gadadhar Pandit actually took initiation from Pundrik Vidyanidhi. So to judge devotees on externals is an offense. It should not be done. So thank you, Mahabati Prabhu. That is immature on part. अरे मटका सिर्फ पहन रहे हैं, अरे ये तो इतना पैंट शर्ट पहन रहे हैं या आईफोन लेके घूम रहे हैं या that's just external. That's just external. What happens when that person opens his or her mouth? Or what happens when we spend sufficient time around that person? Do we feel inspired? Do we feel more Krishna conscious? Then the externals don't matter. Thank you. There's one more point. Okay, you, Julie, yes. Or I'm entitled to the attention of the devotee. I am entitled whenever I come and stand after the class for a question. It's like Arjuna looking at that fish's eye. You're just supposed to notice me and ask me, or yeah, things like that. Why is that immature? Very nice, very good. So the mature way of thinking would be that all this doesn't matter. I'm here for something which is ultimately going to get me out of all of this. So usme bhi, if I look at comfort and facility, and of course this is new devotees will be on this platform. That's fine. But if you're around for a few years, then you should come beyond it. Yatra mein, yatra is actually meant to give some physical inconvenience. We make it too nice. Please come for Vrindavan Yatra. We'll give you a tough time. Dal rice only every day. This time though we are arranging our best cooks from Attapur and Bhivandi and taking them to Vrindavan, and we've hired a whole kitchen where our devotees are only going to cook for 10 days for all of you. Those of you who come. So please do come Vrindavan Yatra. In fact, tomorrow is His Grace Deen Bandhu Prabhu's birthday. So, and today is Devi Shakti Mataji's birthday. So they clubbed it and celebrated the birthday today in Vrindavan. So the Sarang Thakur Prabhu called me. कुछ offering भेजो दीन बंधु प्रभु के लिए एक voice message भेजो. So that I mentioned to glorify him. I said that when we think of Vrindavan, we think of you. And even if somewhere in a class or in a book we hear or read a pastime, we immediately start thinking how you narrate the pastime. So that compared to गर्मी है, बस ऐसा है कि ऐसा लग रहा है वो प्रलय होने वाला है. Last yatra we tried really hard to get amazing buses. They said amazing buses don't exist in UP. So physical difficulties or feeling entitled for facilities. We can also say feeling entitled for praise, feeling entitled for acknowledgement. Is that why we are here? But what happens is we get lost in these things after a while. अरे वो मेरे एक साल बाद आई, वो आगे बैठ रही है, उसको पहले प्रसाद मिल रहा है, ये सब नए लोग आके पहले उसको दंडवत कर रहे हैं, या अरे इसको तो मैंने बताया था अभी ऐसे, या मुझे क्यों नहीं हो रहा है recognition. We end up losing the whole plot. of why we came here. We came here because we were fed up with those things outside. And after a while, just because maybe it's happening with some devotees here, we also feel, अरे मेरे लिए भी होना चाहिए ये facility, मेरे लिए भी होना चाहिए ये entitlement. And as she said, when I asked her why is that immature, because we are not here for that, and therefore we should not expect. Therefore, Mahaprabhu says in the third verse of Shikshastakam, Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sagishtana. That's why Kaviraj Goswami says that a devotee who really wants to progress in spiritual life should take this verse, make a garland, and wear it around their neck. What? Humility, the principle of humility and the principle of tolerance. While I'm speaking this, I'm the least humble person. I'm talking to myself. But if a person is humble, then this problem will not come. If a person is humble, the problem with Dolly Mataji said will not come. If a person is humble, then before you, what was the thing? Judging people externally will not come. It's all a function of not being humble, thinking कि मैं कोई आदमी है, I'm somebody. Very nice point. That is immaturity on the part of a devotee. That's a question. We'll come to that later. One last thing. There can be many. Anyone? One last thing. Spiritual immaturity on the part of a devotee. Yes. Okay. Not having, and we can expand this, not having faith in the words of the scripture also. Only on, you have faith in the scripture, but not in the words of the devotees. Many things have happened. Many things have happened outside. Yeah. So then technically this would not necessarily be an immaturity at the beginning. Doubting a devotee or a sadhu would not be called immature at the beginning. When would it be termed as immature? And okay. So you're saying basically not having faith in the words of the guru. Okay. Yeah. So that ties with what someone mentioned that Mataji was saying that not having faith in the process, not having faith in the instructions. But you can also take this one step forward and say that initially it is fine to doubt, but after getting convinced that this person is genuine or the process is genuine, after that, still maintaining doubts is immature. Very good. Thank you. So, because if we keep doing, just keep doubting, then basically, what am I saying? I am the only one who knows, and no one else. Basically, we shut ourselves to be corrected from people, and we shut ourselves to take guidance, right? Hmm. 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 Um, hmm. Very nice. So it's a mixture of what even Dayami Mataji said is expecting reciprocation from Krishna and expecting things. No, there is be careful what you ask for. There was one genie who showed up to this couple who had been married for 40 years. And the genie came and said, "You all have been married for 40 years. It's such a wonderful achievement. Who nowadays is married for so many years? Ask me for some boon, I will give you." So the lady said, "I just want to be with my husband all the time." The genie said, "Granted." The man was asked, the man said, "I'm fed up of my wife. I want a wife who's 30 years younger." Now they are 40, matlab they were 60 years old. In one instant, genie said, "Granted." And suddenly the man became 90 years old. So his wife is still 30 years younger to him. So what we ask from Krishna or what kind of things, it may be that, this is a very horrible thing for us. If it's granted, if it happens, हमारे spiritual life का पतन हो जाएगा. And so Krishna very mercifully doesn't allow that to happen. And it requires maturity, therefore it is immature to think like this. And it maturity doesn't come on its own, therefore it requires guidance of devotees. It requires opening our mouth. Sometimes we say, "No, but I'm introvert by nature." That's okay. But no one told you with your nature you can go back to Godhead. I'm angry by nature. No one said that you don't have to reform our. We have to reform. हॉस्पिटल में क्या होता है? डॉक्टर ये ट्यूमर है, पर ये ट्यूमर रहने दो, उसके साथ मुझे ठीक करो. No, it's I have to get it out. I have to change it. या आपका ये ब्लॉकेज है, change your lifestyle, otherwise you'll die. So being introvert in other things is very nice. But if because of being introvert, it stops us from opening ourselves, our heart, and talking to devotees, then that's not good. So that if you're introvert, try to change that part of our nature. So that when we tell this to devotees, then they'll say, "Boss, thoda look at this angle also and look at this angle also. Krishna has been so merciful to you." Can we recap? The first thing was the first sign of an. I mean, there can be countless, but the first thing we discussed today was arguing with senior devotees. Then we discussed not taking the process very seriously. What was the third one? Not contemplating on what we hear or what we read. Then, sorry, being impatient in wanting Krishna's reciprocation, getting offended at a small thing or a small argument. What else? Judging the devotees based on externals, not having faith after sufficient time, also in the words of sadhu. Was one more thing. Expecting facilities. Expecting facilities in my spiritual life. We've felt glimpses of these things in our life. I have felt all. It's like that, when I've in 2015 we had gone to Mayapur in winter. When you go in humidity, you feel वो ज़्यादा अच्छा था. But when you go at that time, and guest houses earlier didn't have geysers inside. You used to go outside in freezing 3:45 a.m. in your, sleeping clothes and wait. And if there are five people who got up before you, by the time your turn comes, the water is no longer hot also. So in that yatra, we there was this katha of Gaur Krishna Maharaj, and so we attended. We used to go every evening, and see if you know that this person is going to leave in 1 year's time, you will, even if you're tired, sleepy, whatever, you will go and hear from them. We take it for granted they're going to be there forever. That I can. This is my addition to this topic of immaturity in the life of a devotee, is thinking that ये तो चलने वाला है, ये लोग तो है ही, बुक्स कहाँ जाने वाले हैं, लेक्चर्स ऑनलाइन है, ये सब भक्तों का संग तो है ही, क्या होगा ये इस्कॉन जू कहाँ जाने वाला है, हम भी है ही. So that is also there. So he was mentioning in one session the description of the hellish planets, and he started with the first one. Chalo, he's told me where I'm going to go. पहले वाले में I'm so lucky. पहले वाले में that's my destination. The second one, I can go there also. Perfect match. I'm a perfect fit. The third one, I said, "Arey, strike three, all three." By the time he reached, कितने descriptions है के? 28. 28. I fitted everywhere. Man, 28. So same way, we discussed what 8 points here. Everything works. Everything is applicable. So the immaturity of Shringi was shown here by his curse. That was immature on his part. And similarly, there are many immaturities in our life which we should avoid if the goal is that I want to progress in spiritual life. Okay. Hare Krishna. What was that question again? Anyone else has a question, you can please think. There is one more lesson from this pastime, which is the reaction of Shamik Rishi after this happens, which we will discuss Krishna willing next time. Who's asked this? Acha. So, do we have a target of how we can make Krishna our? Should we have a target of trying to make Krishna our life rather than part of our life? So basically, then rephrase it to say that should we have a target to eventually become fully dedicated to the service of Krishna compared to right now when devotional service is one aspect of my life? Yes, absolutely, we should. While coming on the way from home, thinking I'm going to hear a nice class of Krishna Premanand Prabhu, and so I was on YouTube, and this is the 50th anniversary of Bhaktivedanta Manor. Bhaktivedanta Manor is a temple in Watford which George Harrison donated to Prabhupada. It's like right now, who's the most famous Bollywood actor currently? Everyone is wanting to show that, dude, I'm not knowing all these things anyway, but everyone has an answer. Chalo, take 15 years back and think of Shah Rukh Khan. 15 years back, Shah Rukh Khan was quite big, or Salman Khan, or Amir Khan, whatever. Amir Khan after Three Idiots. If that guy comes and falls at the feet of one of our gurus and starts chanting Hare Krishna and starts promoting, instead of the crappy movies that he made, uh, promoting Krishna consciousness in his movies, and then saying, look, you know, uh, Shah Rukh Khan suppose saying, look, I have this amazing bungalow in Bandstand. It's huge. उसके पीछे मैंने एक और वो बनाया है 4 माले का बिल्डिंग मेरे सोकर फ्रेंड्स के लिए सबको निकाल दूंगा आप वो गेस्ट हाउस बनाओ इसको मंदिर बनाओ पूरा बैंडस्टैंड आपका and he doesn't make a secret of it. Everyone knows it's in the press. What kind of an impact will that have for preaching? Everyone will want to at least inquire what's it all about. So that George Harrison was like that. 50 years back, the Beatles were the biggest thing in the world, and he donated this. So where are we coming to? Haan. So I was hearing unka 50th anniversary chal raha tha, so they had invited all those devotees who were there at that time. So this panel discussion was going on, and in that panel discussion, this thing came up that how we used to live in those days. So Prabha Vishnu Maharaj, he was saying, we had this big van and we used to go city to city and we were 5 of us. और वो वैन का विथ था कि खाली 3 लोग सो सकते हैं. तो हमने क्या किया, हमने एक वुडन प्लैंक लिया, हमने रस्सी बांधा एंड हमने उसको इतना उठा दिया ताकि नीचे 3 लोग सो सके और ऊपर 2 लोग सो सके, एंड इट वाज द मोस्ट ब्लिसफुल टाइम ऑफ आवर लाइफ. So they all didn't think this, that security, this, that, and all. And had they all not done that, probably Krishna consciousness could not have spread at the rate at which it spread. You require dedicated people. You can't have preaching spread just by people who will give their weekend. You require dedicated. And even chalo, forget the extra preaching part. For our own advancement, wouldn't it be better to do it day in and out. Those who came to Mayapur 4 days, didn't we feel very Krishna conscious? Bro? We felt right, very very Krishna conscious. Unfortunately, Pramod Gopinath Prabhu was sick for last 2 days. Even then, it's uh, being sick, but knowing that the devotees are there, they're all around me. Anytime I need anything, it's all there and all. So, for our own spiritual development, the more we dedicate ourselves, the faster we will develop, faster we'll grow. And even if we want to do something for Prabhupada, the more we are dedicated, the faster, the more benefit it can have. My life can be of more use. So, definitely, we should have a goal. We should not take it for granted retirement ke baad. Any other question? Thank you, Mahapati Prabhu, for contributing so much online. Yes, Prabhu. The way I relate to this was there were a lot of intense desires for spiritual growth in the initial years of Krishna consciousness, and somewhere we plateaued out. I have that experience. That initially those desires were there. Yeah, I want to learn the Bhagavad Gita. I want to learn it like these guys know it at the back of their hand. I want to be able to, immerse myself in chanting or singing, and yeah, enough of this material world, and I really want to be as pure as these guys, or as knowledgeable as them, or as sincere in their spiritual practice as them. And then after a while, somewhere it reaches a plateau, and then we find comfort in our spiritual life, and then that thing. So I am very much in the same boat as you, but the only thing I can contribute in this is being associated with inspired people and their inspiration rubbing off on us. Being associated with the people who think big in their spiritual life, think big for doing something for Prabhupada, think and using us as instruments. Being associated with them, and every now and then taking some time out for our own sadhana, uh, not alone, but in the association of devotees, like yatras are perfect cases of that. And being around inspired people. Being around inspired people will inspire us. They sharing their spiritual desires or just reading about Prabhupada, the things that he wanted to be done. And then we feel that, yeah, come on, I should also think big and have these desires. So that you can be spiritually inspired and be humble, because there can be desires. I want to lead kirtan very nicely. I want to be able to sing so nicely. I want to be able to quote 701 verses out of 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. And there again lies some false ego. Why you want to sing kirtan? Why you want to be able to preach, preach, preach? But I really want to serve. I want to do something. I want to contribute. Those are wonderful spiritual motivations which are away from ego. And so while working on our sadhana and all is an answer to everyone's question, but specifically to this, being in association of spiritually inspired people and make and having it firm in our mind, I don't want to leave this person's association. Naturally inspires us. Like all these Prabhupada disciples, uh, they were, because of Prabhupada's enthusiasm and inspiration, it rubbed off on all of them to do all these wonderful things which they did. Okay, Hare Krishna. All right. Next weekend, you have the opportunity to really get spiritually inspired. We have His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Swami Maharaj coming to Mumbai, and next Sunday he will be giving the Bhagavatam class in ISKCON Chopati. Their Bhagavatam class starts at 8:40 a.m. So you can all come to Chopati, or you can watch it online. And next Monday, 28th August, he will give Bhagavatam class in Juhu here. So that's at 8 a.m. So you come and take this association. Also, you want to get inspired, come for our Kartik Yatra, 3rd November to 10th November. Uh, if you haven't booked your tickets, book it, book them, and we'll figure out a place for you to stay if you've not done so. But do come. You know, these Prabhupada disciples are not going to be around forever. Sometimes we just fear that day where, you know, Deembandhu Prabhu is no longer there, or these great personalities. And I used to always feel, you know, I used to hear Indra Prabhu's Kirtans, I used to love Indra Prabhu's Kirtans, but unfortunately, for the first 3 years of my Krishna conscious life, I never went to Vrindavan. I went to Mayapur straight, 2008, 2009, 10, I think. But I didn't go to Vrindavan 2008. I didn't go to Vrindavan 2009. I didn't go to Vrindavan 2010. The devotees were telling me, "Chalo," you know, and it used to be that December, Christmas to New Year time, Vrindavan Yatra. ठीक है, I'll go next year. ठीक है, I'll go next year. ठीक है, I'll go next year. July 2010, suddenly out of the blue, you know, in the morning, got this horrible news. Indra Prabhu left. He was just 56 years old. Indra Prabhu left. Wow, my God. And after 3 months, you know, I went to Vrindavan for the first time. And after that, regularly I have regretted this so much. My God, you know, his recordings are inspiring so much. What would it have been to sit there? And now, whenever we go to Vrindavan, we have that break time after lunch, and then we have our evening 7 p.m. thing. So regularly, I just go. Indra Prabhu slot used to be 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Even, you know, the current devotees, that just the energy is so much in that temple hall. It's so inspiring. What to speak of it when Indra Prabhu was there? None of us can get that. But after some time, it will be the same. अरे यार, आपने भी वही सब सेम चीज बोला, ठीक है यार, but you know what Deembandhu Prabhu used to speak, or what, you know, Vaisheshika Prabhu used to speak, or what, you know, these guys used to speak. They're not going to be there forever, and therefore, even if you've been to Vrindavan a billion times, come, keep coming. एंड द रीज समय से कि कार्तिक में क्यों जाना है, बाद में जाओ, पहले जाओ, कार्तिक इतना भीड़ होता है, इतना कुछ मिलता नहीं है, हर चीज का रेट ज्यादा होता है, क्यों जाना है झक मारा के, वो भी, यू नो, यू ऑल choose also this wonderful period, you know, Diwali time, trains are crowded, this that, टीसी आके परेशान करता है, and वही टाइम पे जाना है. But that's the time where all these wonderful devotees come to Vrindavan. So please do come 3rd November to 10th November and spend 1 week with us in Vrindavan. It's going to be very, very inspiring. And as I said, you're going to get some amazing prasad this year. And last week of December, we plan to go for a 3-day yatra to Udupi. So we will announce the dates. Udupi is the place where Madhvacharya, Sripad Madhvacharya discovered the Krishna deity, which is currently being worshipped there. Very wonderful place. So again, do come. And then again in February, Krishna willing, we'll go to Vrindavan. So like, there's so many opportunities to get association. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very nice. Okay. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की, समवेत भक्त वृंद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।